Perfect. So, welcome everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. We're going to lay on our backs on our mat. And for me personally, I'm feeling a little chilly in my room here. So, after a little bit of breathing, we'll get ourselves nice and warmed up. So, settling into our mat here with knees bent, feet flat. Feet are about hip distance apart, and we're just going to start some nice deep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Option to close your eyes if you want to, and just bring that awareness to your body, seeing how it feels in this moment, kind of checking in on what it had to perform today, how our bodies felt throughout the day, and now as we kind of wrap up our days. And as we continue this deeper breathing, making sure that we're exhaling a little bit more forcefully through the mouth, breathing so that we can hear ourselves throughout the whole class. Breathing so that it pulls in this extra element of our core here and our diaphragm muscle. So as we do that, maybe starting to bring a little bit of work here right in the center of the body. And as we inhale, we can just relax and release. So again, exhale. Maybe just starting to fire up the core a little bit more, pulling that belly button towards your spine and upwards. Option to have your hands on your belly, just monitoring and observing what's going on. On this last exhale, we're going to exhale, press that air out, activate through our core and hold that activation. Continue normal breathing and dissociating that idea between our breath and the core, that we can do both independently of one another. So we're still breathing, we're still activating the core, transferring this idea into everyday life to be able to activate the core and do everything that we need to do, standing, walking, sitting, talking. And feel around with your hands. Maybe there's just a gentle wrapping sensation all the way from the back to the front. Seeing where you feel those muscles working. And it might not necessarily feel like a normal muscle burn as if you were lifting weights, but just noticing that something is happening. Keep holding that sensation, and from here, we're just gonna go right into some shoulder bridges. So arms right down by your side, inhaling through the nose to prepare, and as you exhale, tucking that tailbone up, scooping through the lower abdominals, and lifting all the way to a point that feels comfortable for you, and then slowly peeling down, one vertebrae at a time. Tailbone is the last to touch. And as we go through these normal shoulder bridges, I want you to ask yourself what muscles you feel working. Yes, probably the glutes and the hamstrings are working, but can you feel your lower abdominals kick in during that last bit of lowering and that initial lift of the pelvis? And if not, maybe see what your body needs to do to feel this scooping sensation right through those lower abs. We're going to do a few more just like this, rolling up, articulating through the spine, and just starting to bring some warmth through the body. On this last one, we're gonna hold here at the top. And the top can be either halfway up, it can be 3/4, just as long as there's no pressure or tension in the neck. Go ahead and look from right to left, just to make sure everything there is nice and loose and relaxed. And then head back to the center, shifting our focus again towards our glutes. We're gonna pulse up higher and faster. Squeezing here for last 5, 4, 3, 2, hold at the top. From here, knees are going to squeeze together in the middle. See if they can touch, and then take them a little bit wider. Most of our weight is in our heels, so we should be able to swivel easily on those heels. Knees wide and knees all the way touching. Inhale to open, exhale to close. Last one. Hips stay the same level. Knees back to hip distance apart and slowly roll down. From here, take a nice hug in towards your chest. Rock from side to side, or little small circles massaging your low back. From here, go ahead and keep hugging onto that right knee. Let your left foot find the mat. From here, little ankle rolls, clockwise and counterclockwise. And then taking a quick release for those hamstrings. Hands are going to clasp underneath that knee. You're pulling in towards your chest depending on your flexibility. Exhale, straighten out that top leg, pressing the back of your knee against your hands, up as high as you can towards the ceiling, and then relax it back down. 2 more like that. This is a contract, relax. So we're really kind of squeezing the quad muscle in the front to lengthen the hamstring in the back. Maybe noticing that each time you straighten, you're able to get a little bit further than you did last time. Last one, squeezing and straightening up to the top, maybe feeling some shakiness come through that leg, and then bend it all the way back in. To finish off, we're going to gently release, hands down by your sides, but keep that right knee in as close to you as you can. We're going to drive through that bottom left heel now for a single leg bridge. Trying our best to keep hips nice and level. So exhale, lifting both hips up, pressing all the way through at the top, and then slowly roll down. 2 more like that. Exhale, lift, driving through that right side as well so that hips are level. And then slowly lower. Last one. Drive it up to the top. Hold lifted, little squeezes, little pulses. 1 inch up, 1 inch down for 3, 2, 1. Hips slowly come down. Perfect. We're going to switch sides now, so left knee comes to the chest and right foot finds your mat. Gently roll out that ankle, going clockwise and counterclockwise. And then from here, grabbing up underneath that knee, clasping your hands, exhale, straighten the leg and pushing the back of the knee against your hands. And bend it back in, contracting and relaxing. Exhale, push to straight. If you're able to get all the way straight, try to hug that knee in a little bit closer to you from the start. Last one. Exhale, straighten, pressing, maybe a little shakiness. And bend it back down. Perfect. Release your hands by your sides, but keep that left knee in as close to your chest as you can. Now, driving through the right heel, exhale, lift both hips up, squeeze to the top, hips are level, and slowly roll down. 2 more like that. Exhale, lift, squeeze it up, lower. And last one, exhale, lift, hold at the top, little pulses, 1 inch up, 1 inch down. For 3, 2, 1, slowly lower all the way, hugging both knees into your chest. Rock from side to side or little circles, whatever feels good for you. Lastly, taking one nice release for the low back. Hands are going to stay wrapped around the shins. Another push-pull exercise. Your hands are going to pull in towards your chest and your knees are going to push away. And both of those at the same time should give you a nice opening sensation through the low back. This one you're not going to feel in the core, but you're going to feel in your low back, creating space, creating length. You can either hold that pressure or you can relax and go back into it. This should feel pretty good. Perfect. From here, let's start to warm up the core a little bit. Both feet are going to come back down to the mat. Hands maybe on your low belly here. And from here, we're going to tighten up through the center. Feet are going to come nice and light on your mat like they're floating on clouds. And then we're going to take just a slow march up to tabletop. Knee pausing directly over the hip and then hinging back down. Alternating sides, lifting and lowering. That knee stays bent at 90 degrees the whole time. One thing to really focus on is the position of our spine and our low back. No change between this tabletop, and as we hinge back down, we're maintaining this same position, this same natural curve of our low back, engaging and connecting ribs to hips. A few more on each side. Keep that breathing going. Keep those feet light. On this last one, we're going to hold both legs lifted in tabletop. Just hold here and breathe. Appreciating what our core can do for us here. Noticing that our legs are being held from the center of the body rather than the hip flexors or the thighs. Perfect. From here, exhale, press one leg out to straight. Inhale it back into tabletop, switching sides. Exhale, push to straight. Inhale back in. Keep switching. If you feel your form starting to get tired and a arch starts to come into your low back, take a break and hop back in when you can. You'll notice that my leg is really not going down too far. As it straightens, it really is coming out to 45 degrees, not any lower. Last one on each side. Perfect. Hug those knees into your chest. Take a quick break. Awesome job. We're going to bring legs straight up towards the ceiling. Hopefully now those hamstrings are a little bit more unlocked. From here, relax your arms down by your sides. We're just going to slowly lower one leg to about 45 degrees. And then raise it back up to the top, switching sides. Slowly lower. And lifting back up. Good. On this last one here, hold at the top. Squeeze heels together, toes apart. Little tiny circles going clockwise and then counterclockwise. Feeling the work in your low abs here. Option to bring your hands back to your lower belly. Last one. And take a quick break. Perfect. Core should be feeling nice and warm now. We're going to go ahead and bring legs into tabletop and now arms right up towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to inhale for a dead bug, reaching opposite arm, opposite leg long. Exhale it back to the center, switching sides. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Again, noticing that no changes happen in the low back or the spine as I go from my closed position to my open position. Last one. Good. From here, staying in tabletop, clasp your hands together. And then from here, we're just going to slowly hinge down with one leg for our reverse march. Hinge it back up. Alternating sides, hinge only as far as you feel like you can, maintaining your position. So that does not necessarily mean that your heel taps down. Perfect. Last one here. Awesome job. Hug it in. From here, let's go ahead and transition right onto our side. Laying inside lying with hips totally stacked, one on top of the other. Head can be supported in your hand or it can rest down on your arm, whatever feels more comfortable. From here, top leg is going to lift at the height of the top hip. Engage your core, lift belly button off of your mat, and think about yourself wrapping all the way from bottom to top. Reach this top leg 1 inch further than you think you can to really square off the hips. From here, we're going to inhale, kick to the front for 2, and exhale, kick to the back for 2. I can kick a lot further if I wanted to, but in order for me to maintain control through my center, I'm only kicking about the width of my mat. So, what we're looking for is stillness through the upper body. So everything above the waist, including the belly, the rib cage, the top shoulder is frozen. Top hand somewhere other than the mat in front of you. So I like this top hip here to kind of monitor what's going on. On this next one, we're going to add a little bicycle kick. So bend and extend, sweep long and straight. Bend, extend. Every time it straightens, you're also reaching 1 inch further. Inhaling to the front and exhaling to the back. On this next one, reverse direction, straight to the front, bend and extend to the back. Starting to feel quite a lot of work coming into this top hip here. Where you should be feeling it is right behind this top hip bone. Preferably not down the leg quite as much, but just right here. On this last one, hold long and straight, little circles. Check back in with the core, make sure it's still active. For 3, 2, reverse directions of these circles. For 3, 2, hold it lifted, extend the bottom leg all the way straight if it's not already. One of my favorites, exhale, meet the bottom heel to the top, squeeze and hold. 2, 3, slowly lower that bottom leg only. When you do this, you might notice a lot of shaking and wobbliness from the whole body. This one is a great indicator of how well our core is holding our position. On this last one, hold lifted, little flutter kicks with both legs. Knees stay straight. Breathing here for last 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax both legs. Top leg is gonna come forward, either knee flat right in front of you, or if it's more comfortable, you can kind of hold on to that ankle, knee pointing up and foot flat. Taking our focus to the bottom leg, exhale, squeeze it up to the top, and slowly lower down. Squeeze, lift, and pause, and lower. On this next one, we're going to add a little bit of just some pointing and flexing with the foot. So start with your foot flexed. Squeeze it up to the top, and then point it, flex it, and lower down. Squeeze, up, point, flex, and lower. 2 more like this. Up, point, flex, and lower. On this last one, squeeze lifted with a flexed foot, little pulses up towards the top. 1 inch higher than you think you can for 3, 2, 1. Relax everything back down. Top leg is going to come back up and over. Restack those hips. From here, we're going to do a high clamshell, so bending both knees into about 45 degrees. Hips stay stacked, top hand monitoring, and then both feet are going to lift up. From here, top knee only lifts and hinges, heels stay squeezed, and slowly lower down. Exhale, top knee, lift, squeeze, and lower. Again, asking yourself where you feel the work. Is it where we want it to right here, or is it somewhere else? You might have to play around with the angle of your knees, so maybe knees come in or away from you to find our target muscle. On this last one, we're going to add a little kick at the end. So knee comes up, kicks out, heels, and down. 2 more like that. Knee, kick, in, and down. Last one. Awesome. Relax both feet down. We're going to roll right onto our backs. Whichever leg was on top, that ankle will cross over for a figure 4 stretch. You can make this figure 4 stretch your own depending on how it feels and what feels best for you. But some options would be to hug that leg in, rocking side to side. You can crisscross at the knees, holding on to ankles. What feels good for one person doesn't always hold true for another, so finding that sweet spot and breathing, letting your hips just melt down to the floor. When you are ready, we're just going to take a nice 180, swiveling to the other side to set ourselves up for side lying on the other side. You can choose to still face me if you want to. So head either supported in your hand or on your arm. Hips stacked, belly button pulled in and engaged. Top hand somewhere other than the mat. Maybe top hip or behind the head. And lastly, top leg lifted at the height of the hip. From here, reach 1 inch further than you think you can, realigning those hips, lengthening through the side body. Keep that length as we kick to the front for 2 and to the back for 2. One reminder, when you kick back, you want to make sure that you're really just kind of squeezing back. If you kick back too far, your belly might kind of come forward, and your chest, your rib cage might come forward as well. So we're trying to keep stillness through the upper body, so it's really more of like a squeeze backwards, feeling that squeeze through our big glute muscle here. Inhaling to the front and exhaling to the back. On this last one, starting our bicycle kick, bend, extend, and reach long and straight. Bend, extend, reach, long and straight, lengthen. And go ahead, reverse directions, bend and extend to the back, straight leg to the front, recheck back in with the core. On this last one, hold that leg long and straight, small circles. Circles are about the size of a tennis ball or baseball, and we're making sure that this rotation happens from the hip socket, not the ankle. Reverse directions. Pretend like you're drawing those circles on that opposite wall there, reaching long. Last two. One, hold it lifted, extend that bottom leg all the way straight. Exhale, meet the bottom heel to the top, squeeze and hold. 2, 3, lower the bottom foot only. Exhale, squeeze, lift. Pull that belly button in as strong as you can. Exhale, lift, squeeze, hold. On this last one, hold lifted, little flutter kicks. Straight leg kicks, breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2. Don't plop them down. Slowly release those legs down. Top leg, either knee flat or foot flat, hugging in. Bottom leg is going to reach long. We're going to lift, squeeze, hold, and lower. On this next one, adding our pointing and flexing, so starting with the foot flexed, lift, flexed, point, flex, and lower. Exhale, squeeze, point, flex, lower. On this last one, hold lifted, little pulses, little squeezes, 1 inch up, 1 inch down. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower down. Top leg comes right back up and over. And then bending both knees in to about 45 degrees here. Both feet are going to lift and hover. Heels squeeze together. Top hand still on top hip. Exhale, top knee lifts and hinges and lower down. High clamshell, focusing on that range of motion, squeezing right in this glute med muscle. What's nice about a high clamshell is with our feet elevated, we're able to go past neutral slightly into an internal rotation. So we're going from internal all the way to external. Perfect. On this last one, we're going to add that little kick at the end. So knee opens, extend that leg straight, bend it in, and lower down. 2 more like that. Hinge, kick, in, and down. Last one here. Perfect. Relax the knees, relax the feet, and roll over onto your back for that figure 4. Other side, crossing top ankle over knee, and whatever feels best. Maybe your other foot stays flat. here. This should get you a deeper stretch, a little bit more in the front of the hip, that TFL muscle. But just seeing how it feels, having the freedom to play around with this stretch. And taking one last deep breath. Perfect. From here, we're going to come into a quick happy baby stretch. So both feet up towards the ceiling. We're going to grab as high as you can, either ankles or feet, letting the knees come towards our armpits, rocking from side to side if that feels good. Maybe thinking about heels really floating upwards. Feeling the stretch in our high hamstrings, glutes. Perfect. From here, lengthen your arms and legs out long, as if you just woke up in the morning. You can either flex your feet or point your feet, taking a nice inhale. And exhale, let it go. Perfect. From here, we're going to keep that length and roll right over onto our bellies. Keep reaching long, hands reaching away from the center, toes reaching away from the center. And from here, lift that belly button off of your mat, squeezing through your core. Opposite arm and opposite leg are going to reach so long away from the center of the body that they start to hover, head comes with you. Keep finding that length the whole time. Switching sides, exhale, lift, squeeze, and lower. There should be no pressure or tension in the low back, as long as we're keeping that belly button lifted and engaged and keeping that length through the spine. On this next one, option to stay at this speed, or you can speed it up a little bit more. Lift and lower, lift and lower. See how this feels. On this next one, option to stay at this speed or hovering both arms and both legs, little flutter kicks. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Your face is looking right down at your mat. Breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax down. We're going to bring our hands into like a cactus, so right out to the side. And then one cheek can find the mat. I have my left cheek on the mat. From here, we're going to take a little spinal twist here. So if your left cheek is on the mat, your right foot is going to, or your right knee is going to bend. And then we're going to take a nice little twist over to the other side. Going as far as you want to, maybe feeling a nice stretch in the chest muscles on the left. And then switching to the other side, bringing now your right cheek to the mat, bending your left leg, and then taking it right up and over to the other side, just seeing how it feels, doing what feels good for your body. And then taking it right back down to your mat. Take your head back to the center, and then hands are going to come right underneath of you. So elbows directly underneath the shoulders. You can kind of choose what angle feels best for you. So if this doesn't feel great in your low back, you can lower down, bringing elbows a little bit wider. So you're just propped up just a little bit. From From here, we're gonna work on engaging our core in this position. So drop shoulders away from your ears, neck is nice and long. From here, exhale, lift belly button off of your mat. Hips stay down and tuck that rib cage down and in towards your hip bones. It's a small little change, and then relax everything back down. Again, working against gravity here. Exhale, lift, lengthen all the way through the top of your head. And lower down. Last one like this. Exhale, lift, squeeze. And relax all the way. Perfect. Bring your hands right up underneath your chest. And we're going to press right back into child's pose here. Knees are going to come wide if they want to. Set your hips back on your heels. Reach your arms long and forehead comes down. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And fully relax everything down, your belly, your pelvic floor, your hips. One last deep breath like that. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Perfect. We are going to be coming into our hands and knees here. Hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. Let's take a few cat-cows here, rounding the back, looking at your belly, tucking your tailbone down. And then inhale, arching the back, looking up. Taking a few more at your own speed and seeing what feels best for your body. Welcoming any variations, any shifting side to side or forward and back or circles. And making our way to a flat back, a neutral spine. So we have established kind of what is up and what is down. And then from here, we're going to find that straight line. So head also is included in that. So make sure your head's not drooping down off of the end of your body. Your eyes are right in between your hands, and it should almost feel like you're giving yourself a double chin. You're lengthening the back of your neck here. This should feel kind of hard to maintain this position for the head and neck. From here, we're just going to reach one arm straight up overhead, reaching long, and bring it back down. Try not to move anything else really. No big shift of the weight. Alternating sides. Inhale, reach. Exhale, down. Spreading those fingertips wide on your mat. Check back in with your head. Last one. Perfect. From here, relax back into child's pose. Head relaxes all the way down. Rolling out those wrists if you need to. We're going to go ahead and transition into a side plank. For this side plank, your choice whether you want to be on forearm or hand. You can also have the option to be on knees or feet. For me, I'm going to go on my forearm and I'll be on my feet. Other options for the feet, you can have one in front of the other or feet stacked. So whichever one you choose, you can switch around and play with it. From here, top arm is going to lift up towards the ceiling. Exhale, we're just going to find that nice straight line. Breathing here. Again, this includes your head and neck, so make sure your head and neck are not drooping down. From here, we're going to slide top hand down the top leg and then raise back up, reaching that hand long overhead. 2 more like this. Slide down, hinging. Exhale, lift and lengthen. Last one. Perfect. From here, lower the hips. Relax the shoulders. We're going to go right onto the other side. Forearm or hand, knees or feet. Feet stacked or one in front of the other. From here, top arm lifting up. Press your shoulder away from your ear and lift those hips up as high as you can, establishing that nice long line. From here, top hand is going to slide down top leg and lengthen long up overhead, nice long line. 2 more, hinge down and lengthen and reach. Last one. Perfect. Take those hips carefully down. Roll right back over into your child's pose. Side planks are a really great exercise for so many reasons. One last deep breath, inhaling through the nose, exhale through the mouth. From here, we're going to come back onto hands and knees. And we're going to tuck those toes under. From here, we're going to come into what I call a bear position. So, hands pressing down into our mat, fingers nice and wide, chin, again, kind of tucked down, lengthening the back of your neck. We're going to just hover both knees up, sending weight into your hands and your feet until your hips are nice and level with your shoulders. Hold here and slowly lower those knees. 2 more like that. Exhale, lift straight up, hovering here. See if you can hold and slowly lower the knees. You'll feel your quads working as well. Last one, exhale, lift, hover, hold. And slowly lower down. Perfect. From here, keep those toes tucked. And we're going to come into a down dog position. Lengthening the backs of our legs. And then coming right back down into our hands and knees. 2 more like that. Exhale, straighten the legs, lifting your hips up towards the ceiling, opening the shoulders, and coming right back down, hovering, using control of the legs. Last one. If this feels okay, staying here in our down dog, we're going to do 3 overhead presses. So top of the head coming right in between the hands, bend elbows wide. And then straighten those arms all the way back out. 2 more, just a little bend in the elbow. And straighten back out. Last one. Perfect. Slowly lower the knees. Awesome. We're going to shoot those legs through and forward. Shake out those legs a little bit. And then take a nice forward fold forward. Let your head go. Let your arms go. Shift from side to side if that feels good. Perfect. From here, restack the spine all the way to the top. Hands are going to come in front of the body. From here, tuck the tailbone down and start to round the back, relaxing your shoulders away from your ears, almost like someone's trying to poke you in the belly and you're trying to get away from that. Only roll down as far as you can, knowing that you're going to have to make your way back up. Start to slowly restack the spine all the way to the top. 2 more like that. Tailbone starts, Roll down one vertebrae at a time. Relax those shoulders away from your ears. And slowly coming back up. Trying your best to relax the legs. Try not to have them be tensioned. Perfect. Fold forward once again. Maybe flexing those feet this time. On this next set, hands are now going to come to prayer position right at that chest bone. We're going to bring in a little bit more rotation here. So starting with our spine stacked, tuck tailbone under, round. Pause at a place where it feels like you can hold. Exhale, twist and rotate to one side, elbow pointing down. And then center, exhale, twist to the other side. As you do this, making sure your hands don't veer off towards your shoulder, that you're really truly twisting with your whole chest. On this last one, hold twisted little pulses 1 inch further for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, twist to the other side, little pulses for 3, 2, 1. Back to the center, reach forward. From here, scoot your hips forward if you can, making a little bit more room behind you. Round your back, keeping your toes up, heels down, and marching one leg up and the other leg after. Keeping heels light on your mat the whole time. Finding that C curve, rounding your back, relax your shoulders away from your ears, neck is nice and long. On this next one, option to keep marching or finding your boat pose, hovering both legs up, hold here and breathe. Find stillness. Feel all those small adjustments happening. Appreciating that our body's doing a lot of work right now. Last 3, 2, relax in butterfly, soles of the feet together, nose to toes. Let those knees come wide. Doing what feels best here. On this next one, we're going to find our boat pose again. This time, we're going to option to come into a rock and roll. So with this, you can either have hands on your shins or floating next to your shins. You want to keep your back as round as possible, looking at your belly button, and we're going to try to roll back and then pause at the top, not using any momentum here. If the roll back doesn't feel good, just practice this boat pose. But option 2, try the rock and roll, pausing in between each one. You can either stay here with legs bent, or you can try an open leg rocker, which is straightening the legs and grabbing up as high as you can. Good. Try not to let that head pull forward. Last one. Hold here at the top, find stillness, and then relax back into butterfly. Soles of the feet together, nose to toes. Perfect. When you are ready, let's go ahead and we'll turn to the front. I'm going to crisscross my legs. Let's take both hips, anchor them down onto our mat, and then either hand or elbow comes to the side, reaching up and over, only as far as you can, keeping those hip bones down. From here, circle this top arm around. And other side, either hand or elbow comes down and up and over. Circle the top arm. Asking yourself if there's any point in this circle that feels like more resistance or tension than the other. Perfect. Restacking the spine all the way up to the top, finding length through the spine, maybe able to sit up a little bit taller than you did at the start. Clasp your hands together. Now we're going to round our back, looking at the belly button. Hands are reaching forward and chest is reaching backwards. Seeing how this feels, relaxing the head and neck. Option to take arms over to one side, getting a deeper stretch through the upper back. Taking some nice deep breaths through this to expand through the back of the rib cage. If you went to one side, make sure you're going to the other. Back to the center. From here, inhale, reach your hands back behind you, open the chest, looking up slightly. Sit up nice and tall, and if you can, clasp your hands back behind you and just roll those shoulders back. Seeing how that feels. Maybe looking from side to side or rotating. From here, release and relax your hands. Roll those shoulders back. And last one. Inhale, shoulders come up towards your ears. We're going to squeeze our eyes, our toes, every muscle that we possibly can, up and in. All that pressure, all that tension. And then exhale, shake it out and let it go. One more like that, everything up and in. Noticing that sometimes we hold tension without even noticing it. And contracting everything, finding that contrast just to shake it out and relax everything down. That is my favorite part. Thank you guys so much for joining. If you have any questions about anything,